Okay, good morning. It's been a rainy morning for everyone. I hope everyone's okay. For today, we will continue our lesson on the introduction to information systems. So before we had a story, between the two types of stores. One is a convenience store like a 7-Eleven, and the other one was a sari-sari store. So both of them, from the high-level definition of information systems, we say that both of them are using information systems, but one uses computer-based, the other one is using a manual-based information system. Today, we will go in detail on the components of a computer-based information system because that's why we are here in this course. Just to give a recap again, okay, about our high-level definition of information systems, it is a set of interrelated components that collect, manipulate, store, and disseminate data and information, which provides feedback to meet an objective. So if your system is capturing sales, then it means that it could send us information or feedback regarding our sales performance. Okay, so we have three processes, or basically four: the input, processing, output, and the feedback itself. And then we also discussed the role of information systems. So we discussed six roles of information systems in organizations. We gave example, or at least I gave examples last Monday. If you missed them, then please revisit the recording of the synchronous session. I realize I haven't posted it yet on Canvas, so I will do it today together with this session. Right? So dalawang session na i-upload ka for on Canvas today. Okay, but six roles. Of course, one is to mainly manage the operations. Second is to make decisions, to support customer interactions, to improve productivity, to collaborate, and lastly is to gain competitive advantage. Okay, so again, now for today, we will go into detail on computer-based information systems. So it's a single set of hardware, software, databases, telecommunications, people, and procedures or processes that are configured to collect, manipulate, store, and process data into information. Okay, so we'll see how all of these components play all together to form the computer-based information systems. So we'll discuss them very lightly because throughout the course, throughout the semester, we'll try to go into detail on each of these components. Okay. Sige. So first, let's discuss. Okay. So we have the people. We also have the technology. We have the processes, and we have the databases or the data itself. So those were the four main components, or as I categorize them, these are the four main categories of components of information systems. So we have the people, we'll discuss the technology, we'll discuss the process, and we'll discuss the data itself. Okay, so from the people side, okay, so it is the most important, or can be the most important element in a computer-based information systems, because mainly, even though if we have the system in place, if there are no people running it, then it will not run by itself. Okay, unless of course they are the automated systems, which are more of the advanced capabilities of the technology today. Okay, but for now, for most, or at least the status quo information systems, we still need people to run them, to implement them, to manage them, and to track the performance of these systems. Okay, so the design, development, launch, and maintenance of any information system involves teams of people, and that's how we see human element play a crucial role in the success or failure of most information systems strategies. Okay, so from the leaders themselves, they need to conceive the strategic objective that the system will achieve. So from weighing pros and cons, cost benefit analysis, they need to make sure that this system, or the information system that they will leverage on in the future, or they will deploy, has a strategic value for the organization. It's not just any utility applications within the organization that can be wrote that can be um, what you call this, can be disregarded anytime. Okay. So the point of investing resources, financial resources, people into this information system is that it will drive value for the organization. Okay. So that strategic objective has to be set first. Okay. So managers and staff from many departments in the organization participate on teams with technologists to design the details of the system. Okay. So in terms of how the system will be used, what processes will be incorporated. So there are a lot of collaborations going on even before implementing the information system. Okay. Or even by simply evaluating commercial systems. So we have different providers. My other employer, SAP, is one of them. So our customers or clients evaluate us against our competitors to see whether our offerings or will fit their requirements. Okay. So again, those involve people. Okay. So who are these critical people in the organization? We have, of course, the CEO to set the overall business objective. We also have the chief information officer, the chief privacy and security officer, and the rest of the team, all of them supporting the information systems strategy. Okay, so let's go through them one by one. So the first one is, of course, the chief information officer, who is sometimes called as the vice president of information systems. So they report directly to CEO to make sure that the strategies are aligned, or at times when the business is not that wide scale, or it's not, the use of technology is not that prevalent in the organization, that person can be under another vice president, like such as finance or administration. So if you go out, it is common to see IT managers, IT heads, or CIOs reporting on their finance team. Or nonetheless, for bigger organizations who have established the importance of information systems in their organizations, CIO is a separate role, okay, from the rest of the C levels or chief level executives. They have great leadership abilities. They have good communication skills and also knowledgeable on ICT or informations and communications technologies. And it's his or her educational background on business is highly relevant. Okay, so that's where MIS program comes in to build you on the ICT, at the same time give you enough business background to support IS strategies and deployment. Okay. Next to that is the chief privacy officer, mainly handles privacy issues and helps shape policy regarding sensitive and confidential data. We also have the chief security officer that ensures confidential information is protected from any risks. Okay. Usually, in this case, our text or main source distinguishes the two, the chief privacy officer or chief security officer. For most cases, they are combined into one role. Okay. But the importance here is that privacy and security is one of the critical aspects that CIO manages. Okay. Whether it's CIO or at times there's also a separate person handling the privacy and security issues. Okay. So yeah, basically that's it. Okay, under them, we have the systems administrator, okay, who installs, manages, and updates the servers. So mainly if we talk about infrastructure or hardware, systems admins are handling those infrastructure. Okay. On the other hand, his partner or his or her partner, the enterprise systems officer, handles the software side. Okay, so about deployment, installing, maintaining, and overseeing these softwares is handled by the enterprise systems officer. Okay, hang on, just give me a minute. Okay, sorry about that. My breakfast just arrived. Okay, that's about the people who will manage the information systems. Okay, but at the same time, at the other end of this spectrum or of this process, right, we also need to consider the end users. Okay, the end users, of course, they will, okay, as it says, they will be the one using the system. If they are not comfortable in using the system, then it might it imposes risks on the success of the project itself. Okay, imagine deploying a very sophisticated system and then the users just can't use it at all because the experience wasn't great, or it's not very intuitive, so they cannot even perform the tasks even though the features of that system is very advanced, we could say, or very sophisticated. Yeah, so that's it. So at the end of the day, the end users still, kind of lead the make sure that these systems run all together. Okay. Um, does any of you are any of you familiar with this HBO show, The IT Crowd? I think that's the title of this one. So if your users are not what do you call this, enabled with the system, this is the result of it. Okay. Not sure if you can hear it. Wait, hang on.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Hello, IT. Yeah, have you tried turning it off and on again?
Hello, IT.
Something's wrong with my computer.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Oh dear, thanks.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Okay, so if I'm not sure if you've heard it, but if you have experience being a tech support to your parents, to your siblings, then you know what they are talking about. So these people supporting the end users will be the help desk. Okay, that's one of the roles that we missed earlier. Okay, the help desk provides service to internal and external customers on technology issues. Again, if the end users couldn't run these systems, then technically these systems can be put to waste. Okay, we have the help desk people to help us run those systems. Okay, and to make sure that everyone uses it. And lastly, the data center operations for bigger companies, they have a dedicated environment with regards to their infrastructure. So these people who manages data centers maintains environmentally controlled areas. Okay, so they have to make sure that the temperatures are at optimal level, that there are redundancies in terms of network, and from safety purposes or security purposes, they have to log everyone who comes in and implement some security measures like uh, ano bang tawag doon? I forgot what it's called. Fire exhaust. Mga ganun. So, yun. So they have to manage everything from down up, okay, up to backing up the servers, making sure that the data is archived and so on. So all of them are handled by data center operations. Okay. So there's a lot of people involved when it comes to information systems, and that really depends on the strategy or the direction of the project. Okay. Now, the second one is technology. Okay. Just to simplify the concept of technology, of course, we have the hardware. Okay. We have the hardware, which is the physical thing that we can actually touch or we can see. Okay. You can treat it as you can look at your phone for the hardware itself, the exact thing that you are holding on. Your computers are considered as hardware, your monitors, If you have been to data centers, you can see racks of machines that are all turned on and running together. They are all called hardware. Okay. What's running inside them would be the software. So if you look at your phones, if you have iPhone, the iOS, if you have Android, the Android system inside. Okay. So that's the software, all the applications that you're running on the phone, Spotify, games, emails, all of those are called software. Okay. And to make sure that the device, the hardware and software, quote unquote, communicates with other devices, we have the telecommunications to move, signals from one place to another. Okay. This is just a very high level or simplified um, summary or visual for technology. But when it comes to, let's say, data center operations, telecommunications could also involve properly routing traffic or network, making sure that the wires do not interfere with other wires and so on, so that it doesn't slows down the bandwidth, eliminate noise, increasing security, analyzing traffic patterns, and so on. Okay, so or let's say simply by choosing whether to go for DSL or fiber connection. Okay, that's under the telecommunications category of technology. Okay. Now the third one is the process. Okay, so from one of the roles of the IS, we have established that it's used for managing operations. Okay, so these operations can be the business process that the system is supporting. Okay, so a business process is a set of activities designed to achieve a task, and organizations implement information systems to support, streamline, and sometimes eliminate business processes. Okay, so if we look at the example here, can anyone guess what this process is? Whether on chat or on microphone? Can anyone guess? We start here and then we go down. Okay, ISIS enlistment, ISIS enlistment. Okay, so yes, this is about it's not specific to ISIS though. But still it's about enrollment or enlistment. Okay, so you log into the system. The system retrieves your records. So if you log in using your I number, it will also pull out your profile, your family background, or if the system has it. Okay, and if the class is if there are still space in the class, you can enlist into the class. If not, then of course you can join the class anymore. But then again, we have the manual process or the load rev. Okay, that's in addition or in extension of the standard enrollment process. Okay, to support, to cater to to deviant situations. Okay, or outlier situations. Okay, deviant is kind of negative. Outlier situations, I think that's a better term. Okay, so that's the business process. So if, as you mentioned, ISIS supports this entire process, so you don't have to go to the school and do all of these things manually. And you could imagine the life before ISIS. Everyone actually does this. They go to different buildings just to enlist to classes, and from there they will even try their luck just to get into those classes, even though there are still slots. Okay, so there's a lot of uncertainty by doing this manually, and with the use of information systems such as ISIS, we were able to streamline and eliminate other uncertainties within that process. Okay, so you can see how it evolved from a manual based to a computer based. And lastly, of course, we've been talking information systems. We also need to talk about the data that comes into the system. Okay, so it comes from the high level definition again that there's an input data, it's being processed or converted into digital format and shared across systems. It is also stored within databases or the hardware part of from the technology perspective. Okay, so all of these, it's still included as core component of the information system. Again, without the data, okay, then there's no use, or there's no sense in using the information system. You could imagine ways without traffic points. Okay, so what's the point? It's just a map. Okay, it's just a digital map. Okay, so that makes a difference between a map, a physical map, and the applications like Waze or Google Maps. Okay, any questions so far in terms of the components of information systems? All right, all clear so far. Okay, so after that, let's discuss the, just bring up the file. Okay, so we will now discuss some research areas or MIS as a discipline. Okay. Okay, let me just bring up the slides. Okay, so we've discussed the high level definition of information systems. Okay, just to recap again. We've also discussed the role of information systems. We've discussed the components of information systems where we have the people, the technology, the business process, and the data itself. Now we will look at information systems as a discipline. So um, on on universities like Ateneo, so we can actually go for the research track of information systems where you can answer specific questions with regards to how technology is used within organizations. Okay, so for example, you can look at it from a technology perspective. So if you haven't heard Internet of Things is when machines and computers or even sensors talk with each other in order to achieve a specific process. Okay, so sample research questions would be asking what kind of devices should be used to collect the data, how should the data be used, and so on. Okay, there was one research. Sorry, can you all see the slides? Okay. Right. So yeah, so going back, so there was one research paper from the Ateneo Learning Laboratory Sciences. I think that's the right term. It's ALS. It's under Dr. Rodrigo, where they actually used Bluetooth devices to track the movement of people in Arete, in the Arete Museum. Okay, so that's one approach. So that's they have explored different sources to collect the data. They have explored Bluetooth devices to collect movement data of people. Okay. Of course, you can also go with the big data and data analytics track on how to collect and efficiently analyze huge amounts of data for to gain critical analysis for the organization. And of course, that is with how to become competitive against their against other industry players. Okay, so they have used data they have crunched the data and also captured the patterns within these massive amounts of data to basically get these hidden insights. Okay. Now, when it comes to development of information systems, okay, what are the best ways to develop a new software? Is it even better to develop a new software, or is it better to procure a system? Okay, whether to buy it off the shelf or develop it on your own. So that's one of the questions that information systems managers deal with. Okay, because if they have resources to develop systems, then they could just simply go with that. But of course, they have to handle other risks. Okay, which are usually handled by the providers, by the systems providers, but of course at a hefty price. Okay, so they have to go for cost benefit analysis as well. And yeah, how should end users be involved in the development process? If you're looking into design thinking, that's also one of the areas that where information systems can play along. Okay. IT in organizations, okay, more of the strategic use of IT and information systems in organizations. IT and individuals, how does IT support um, individuals themselves? Okay, so if you're creating applications for the disabled or for specific users, how will you design your system to adapt to their needs? Okay, we have also looked into collaboration and even markets, okay, or e-commerce. Okay, so these are just example research topics where information systems can play along. There could be other aspects of information systems as well that you can explore on. Let's say the use of AI in business, the use of machine learning, um, how developing a framework on how to effectively implement information systems, and so on. Okay, so these are just some sample topics and questions that you can play with. Okay. Of course, when it comes to the information systems, we deal with people, we deal with data, which can be personal information of your customers or your employees. There are also some ethical concerns when it comes to information systems. Okay, so information systems are very powerful, and even the data themselves that they contain could be vast and personal. Okay, so that's why there's a reason to look into the ethical aspect of it. Okay, so because let's say privacy breaches, okay, hacks could actually cost the organization millions and millions of financial resources. They could also be made liable to the government, okay, because of, let's say, Data Privacy Act, where in the Philippines, the chief privacy officer, or yeah, basically the privacy officer that is accountable to the privacy aspect of information, can be jailed. Okay, so that's one of the um, critical aspects of our Data Privacy Act. Okay, for other example, let's say in 2015, okay, in the U.S. Office of Management and Budget, there were personal records of millions of federal employees were hacked. Okay, or for example, another health insurer, okay, where they got breached of 80 million patient records. So these were very critical aspects, and they could make the government can make these companies liable to these hacks and breaches. Okay. Of course, when it comes to these, if your customers, or if the market sees these, if the market sees this scandals, I would say, of course, the reputation of the organization is at stake. Okay, so it could give individuals the power to damage, spread damaging information, basically. Okay, they could spread rumors about the organization that, hey, this organization doesn't really um, uh, take care of our data, or let's say they're actually selling our data to credit card companies, something like that. So it can further risk your reputation as an organization. Okay. So the way modern information systems amplify any communication, okay, can put your own reputation and livelihood at risk. Okay, so you could look at any email or any photo that you send on social media, whether with consent or not. Okay, it can be used as evidence or anything that could incriminate you in the future. Okay, so just be careful on what you do online. As they say, think before you click. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so the introduction of new information technology can have ripple effect. Okay, so if you see on the diagram here, you could it could start with simply ethical issues from an individual level. It could go further to social issues and even to political issues. Okay, so you could think of people who, how do you call this, who are using these transformation apps, but they don't know that the companies are already gathering images of individuals, and then they can be, no, we don't know, but they can be sold to companies who are using these faces for deep fakes and so on. So you've heard about you probably have heard of deep fakes where faces of, let's say, celebrities were put on obscene images, okay, just to come up with these pictures. So just be careful again on dealing with technology, okay? But of course, the benefits outweigh the risks, but it depends on how you actually leverage on the technology. All right. Any questions so far? We're still at the introduction level, but we've discussed quite a few examples. All right, no questions. If you're experiencing any difficulty listening or looking or viewing the presentation, I will upload again the presentation together with the slides so that you can view it offline or on your own, during your own time. Okay, if there are no questions, that's actually what I prepared for today. Maybe just a few reminders. Okay. If you haven't submitted your group names yet, please do. I have received some emails yesterday. I haven't updated the groupings yet, but I will update them today. We are lacking one group. Okay. I just want to make sure that all five of you know that you will be grouped together. Okay. So please send me if you haven't seen your name yet under the list of groupings, please form your group. Okay, ganun na lang. So you can use the Discord server to look for the other four or reach out to me so I can group you all together. So what I will do is that I will make your sub canvas under the MSYS 20 main canvas page. That means that you will have your own canvas page for your group. So you can use that for your collaboration, for if you want to talk to each other, if you want to upload files, you can use that as your central repository. You're not forced to use that, but I'll just put it up there in case you need to use that. The reason why I'm also looking forward into the groupings, okay, is because okay, so I'm trying to organize the schedule for the class at least until October for the entire September. So today we actually discussed the components and research on IS. Okay, so I'll just mark this complete for my own sake. Next week we will now go into the organization as a system and deeper into strategic management. Okay, so we will deal with things like vision, mission, business model canvas, and Porter's value chain. So we'll look into that and how IS fits into the overall strategy. So there will be quizzes, okay, regarding this introduction on Friday. Okay, that's the September 10. And then on the succeeding weeks, you will have activities, and your case study will be on the last week of first case study will be on the last week of September. Okay, so the case studies will be done by group. Okay, you will be provided with a case study, and then there are some set of questions that you need to answer based on what we've learned on the module 1.2, which is about the strategic management. All right. Let's see if we can follow this. There are some cancellation of classes going on. If that happens, of course, this schedule will adjust. Okay, so I'll let you know when that happens. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, I just want to be transparent with our schedule. But if no questions with the schedule, just track the Google Calendar. If I didn't cancel, if I don't cancel the calendar, that means we're pushing through with the synchronous session. If I cancel them, of course, there will be no session, and I will update you also through the calendar whether there will be asynchronous materials in lieu of the session. Okay, if you are not part of the Discord server yet, I now recommend that you do, because I post quick announcements there. Okay, so and also some of our classmates are there too, so you can also use some of the voice channels there to collaborate or do your case studies. Okay, so if there are no other questions, that's it for today, and I'll give you back your 20 minutes. Okay, so I'll see you guys on Friday for the first topic on strategic management, and we'll have a quiz first on the intro and components and research on IS. It's just a very quick quiz. Okay, so ano naman yan? No, hindi naman siya super heavy. Okay? All right. If there are no questions, that's it. And I'll see you guys on Friday.
Thank you